You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining me tonight on the debate, Anand Ranganathan, author, Ratan Sharda, author, Sujata Pandey, political analyst, Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, Brijmohan Shrivastava, spokesperson of the NCP. But my first question goes to Mr. Yogi Ghade, leader of the Shiv Sena. Mr. Ghade, straightforward. When you came in, you wanted to have a government for 5 years, hasn't worked out that way, and now you're losing government. Mr. Ghade, you're losing the government, you're losing your party, and of course you have to face the wrath of the people because you've lost your identity as a Hindutva party. So has it been worth the while of the Shiv Sena to get into the Maha Vikas Aghadi at all, or is it really a balance sheet that just has extremely red bottom line?
First of all, good evening. And when I start, let me tell you that when the Maha Vikas Aghadi was formed in 2019, if you go by the history, back in 2014, when Lok Sabha elections was won by Shiv Sena and BJP, but later on during the Vidhan Sabha in 2014, BJP broke the alliance end movement saying we want more seats and all. Then they fought separately. Post that again, Shiv Sena won 63 MLAs on their own that time. They came back together to form the alliance again. Then in 2019, just 2 months before the Lok Sabha election, Mr. Amit Shah ji and Uddhav Thackeray Sahib announced alliance again of UT of Shiv Sena and BJP, and both were quoted as saying that Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha both will have 50% seat sharing. Okay, and then Vidhan Sabha happened, and then again during Vidhan Sabha, BJP put pressure on Shiv Sena that you have to reduce the seats. We want more because we already have 123 MLAs.
Why are you getting into the history, sir?
Yes, I'm just telling you the history behind Maha Vikas Aghadi. And then when the election results came, you know what the history happened. And then one fine morning, you see BJP and NCP taking oath together as CM and Deputy CM that time. And after 2 days again, the scenario changed, and then Shiv Sena went with NCP and Congress. So it was the BJP before who went with NCP. So when they do, is it is it holy that time? When they do the Aghadi, when they in Kashmir, when they go with PDP, it is justified. Shiv Sena wants this chief minister post for 2.5 years. In Bihar, if you notice, BJP was saying in Maharashtra they have more numbers than Shiv Sena, but in Bihar, Nitish Kumar clearly has less numbers than the BJP. Yet BJP gave Nitish Kumar the CM post there. In Haryana also they compromised. They gave somebody the deputy chief minister.
Mr. Ghade, let's come back to the present. Forget 2014, forget 2019, and I can play out the soundbite of Mr. Amit Shah on the promises that he was accused to have made to Uddhav Thackeray. We all know that, we all remember that. I'm asking you today, do you have a party? Is there a Shiv Sena with Uddhav Thackeray ji, or is the real Shiv Sena with Mr. Eknath Shinde, who is claiming he has the support of nearly 37 or 38 MLAs out of the 55 in the Maharashtra Assembly? Please cut to 2022.
Yes, as a Shiv Sainik, I have observed this closely, but what I feel personally is that the MLA taken to outer state, that is Gujarat, and then to Assam, and you don't know what is in the minds of all these MLAs until and unless the floor test is happening in Mumbai.
So why is Mr. Thackeray not asking for a floor test?
Nor is the opposition, nor even the BJP, not even the Eknath Shinde sir as of now is asking for floor test. That is what is surprising.
Well, if you have the numbers, you ask, you sort of challenge them and they'll fall down. Why don't you have the confidence? You're a sitting government, sitting chief minister.
No, today Mr. Uddhav Thackeray also has appealed to them to come and talk to them over here. And even Sanjay Raut has told come here and talk, and we will listen to whatever is
Mr. Ratan Sharda, Mr. Ratan Sharda, appeals have been made, but nobody has come back, and both sides are in an eyeball-to-eyeball confrontation. Nobody is blinking yet, and Shiv Sena is, उन्होंने भी तो floor test के लिए नहीं कहा है, तो उनके पास भी number नहीं है. So what's really going on?
And what I mean to say is Once all MLAs
Whenever Uddhav Thackeray makes an appeal, two MLAs run away.
Scenario.
That is the kind of leadership we have today in Shiv Sena. It's the most humiliating leadership where Mr. Eknath Shinde has been able to take over the entire party. I remember the audacious work done by Indira Ji in 1968-69 when she hijacked the entire party during the presidential election despite being a smaller leader at that time. This is as audacious as that. And for a party which, for Uddhav Thackeray claimed to have natural right to rule, he has lost total control over the party. It's just a question of time. And the most importantly, if you listen to Mr. Rayat's or Mr. Sanjay Raut's statement, his words are as if we have guts, you come here. So he has not yet learned his lessons. He is the man who created all the bad blood between different parties. First, the natural mandate that was given to BJP Shiv Sena, that was spoiled. Then he went on rubbing the people wrong way the entire time when these years were going on. Even before 2019, he continuously abused Modi ji and other parties, and he was the mouthpiece. Uddhav Thackeray couldn't control him. If you can't control a foul mouth, a so-called clerical Chanakya clerk, as somebody called in a letter, then I think Uddhav Thackeray has no right to win the party. And if you say if he could not keep track of so many ML leaving, what kind of person is? And today's letter, if you remember what I said for last 3 or 4 days, today's letters clearly show that he never paid any attention to those MLAs. They were fearful of losing the election. They thought that natural constituency actually clashes with the NCP Congress, with whom they are supposed to play along in the coming election. That scare itself was enough for them to run away. And this, if these people do not realize and keep on putting up brave front, I think they are fooling themselves. You can keep blaming BJP, everybody. Ajit Pawar today said BJP has no role. Nana Patole said that we are also not treated well. So, and they have clearly washed their hands off. What kind of allies these are? So clearly, this is a lost cause, and people who come here bravely, great, they should come because that's the job they do. But the entire scenario of last 2.5 years has left everybody in a very poor taste. Mr. longest serving CM in absentia, who never attended any office, who never met his own MLAs, that is a real reason for the fall. And which party would not be worth its name, which doesn't fish in the troubled water? So today to blame BJP for their own ills is trying to hide away their own weaknesses.
Well, so let me ask Mr. Brijmohan Shrivastava of the NCP. Sharad Pawar ji has said that there should be a floor test, and numbers can only be ascertained in a floor test, and there are n number of judgments of the Supreme Court, whether it was Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, everywhere. What was said was a floor test can determine who has the right to form a government. Mr. Brijmohan Shrivastava, what is stopping the Maha Vikas Aghadi, if it is so confident, to stand up and say, Governor, please call for a session and ask for a floor test? We have the numbers.
Navika ji, being a party in power, we personally feel, and not only the feel, it is a need of the time also. Why we should ask for the floor test? It is not we are in power, we are having sufficient majority, we are running the government, we are the elected government. Why we should ask for the this floor test? The people who are thinking that they are having the number, it is their duty to ask for the floor test if they are having the strength. It is very straight way. Why we should do this thing? No government, no elected government will do this type of action anyhow, anywhere. So no need of it.
So you're saying,
other thing is this,
you're saying कि कुछ हुआ ही नहीं है, हम पावर में हैं, हम जनता के लिए काम कर रहे हैं, और ये सब जो हो रहा है 3 दिन से, it doesn't impact us. We are in power, we are the government, and therefore we are not in a hurry. People of Maharashtra be damned. There is no government that is running. The chief minister in full camera glare has left the official residence in Matoshri, in Varsha, gone away to his personal residence in Matoshri, and you are saying nothing has happened, we have nothing to prove. Anand Ranganathan, is that the way we are supposed as citizens of India?
Government is working properly. Yesterday we were having our cabinet meeting also. So we are having, government is
Brijmohan ji,
so many of your ministers sitting in Guwahati, but you were holding a cabinet meeting. Anand Ranganathan, is it business as usual in Maharashtra, and are we making a mountain out of a molehill?
Good evening, Navika, and good evening to all my esteemed panelists. I have been listening very patiently to all of them, and I hope they will not interject me today, because I have three important things to say. Number one, Navika, whichever way you look at it, I'm sorry, what is happening, what is unfolding right before our eyes is a complete mockery of our democracy. Complete mockery. And I say this knowing fully well that it's not just the Shiv Sena that is mocking at us, it is the BJP, it is the NCP, and it is the Congress. Number two, I want to ask this very simple question. What are these MLAs doing in Guwahati? What are they doing? Now, when somebody asks for a floor test, do you mean to say the other rest 250 odd MLAs are going to be transported to Guwahati for the floor test? Arey wahi assembly shift kar lo fir. I don't understand. Why have they gone to Guwahati? Do they fear for their lives? Or are they of the belief that if they stay in Maharashtra, which is from where they have been elected, it is they are to serve the Maharashtrians, not the Assamese? Do they fear for their lives, or do they believe that Uddhav Thackeray and other people are going to coerce them into returning back to the fold? Why are they in Guwahati? Somebody must answer this. And third, because my good friend Tehseen is there, I see him. Can I please, with your permission, Navika, expend away my 20 seconds, 30 seconds for a change and ask him one question with your permission? Can I please do that,
Absolutely,
Navika?
go ahead. And Tehseen loves your questions.
Thank you. Tehseen, good evening, Tehseen. Can I please ask you a very simple yes and no question?
Sure, please.
Yeah, thank you. Tehseen, here is the question. Tehseen, who is the Speaker of the Maharashtra Legislative Assembly?
There is no speaker. It was Nana Patole. Congress should have got the speaker's post, and for some reason they didn't give it to Congress, despite the name being finalized 2 times. And that's the problem that I have. And that's exactly the problem that I have. So now this post is with the deputy speaker. So you have this problem.
No, one second. जैसे आप ये प्यार नहीं no please Tehseen 1 second. ये जो प्यार आप दिखा रहे हैं जनता के प्रति, ये actually प्यार कुर्सी के प्रति है. Do you know when Mr. was removed as a speaker? More than 1.5 years ago. You are running the government.
He wasn't removed.
Now is the crucial role for the speaker.
He wasn't removed. He was
and resigned. You don't know who the speaker is.
But may I respond to that?
Yeah, but have you brought this up for 1.5 years?
Navika, please, may I respond to that?
Tehseen, please. You can't get away from this time.
Is. In fact,
this time I have really trapped you.
Yes,
this time I have trapped you.
No, I can't. But please allow me to answer. I heard you. Please allow me to answer. Please allow me to answer. Navika, with your permission, I'd like to answer Anand, because a very valid point he raises.
Okay, all right.
It was brought up, but also the governor played a dubious role in this.
Please go ahead.
Please, Anand, please, with your permission, please allow me to answer. You're right, Anand. I'm conceding the point to you, but please allow me to answer.
Go on, Tehseen.
It was brought up. The speaker elections did not happen, but yes, it was brought up. The speaker elections did not happen. But I'll also tell you one more thing. The governor, Mr. Koshiyar, played a very dubious role. On 2 occasions, he did not allow for the session to be called for the speaker election. So all of this, the Congress is the biggest loser in this, and I'm saying this. But I have another point to make, which is a fundamental point that I need to put across. With your permission, I'll be very brief.
No.
There are 2 aspects.
No, you don't have a speaker. Nobody in the NCP or Shiv Sena is agreeing to, your right to have a speaker, but you will blame the governor. NCP or Shiv Sena are not listening to you, but you will blame the governor.
Exactly.
And question the dubious role of the governor.
No, he did play a dubious role.
For 1.5 years, have the right to have a speaker, which your alliance partners are not allowing, and you're sitting because, as Anand says, कुर्सी प्यारी है, बाकी सरकार चल रही है तो चलने दो. How does it matter? We will keep running the government because at least we are in power in half a state, and that reflects good on our CV. So let things go on. Anand Ranganathan, is that not how the Congress party looked at this whole Maha Vikas Aghadi? Because they had 44. They had 44 MLAs compared to 106 plus 7 independents, 113 of the BJP. They had 44 and a chance to sit in power in government. They weren't complaining.
So, Navika, can I finish in 10 seconds?
Yes, go ahead.
Can I just finish in 10 seconds? Because this is the crux of the point.
Yeah, but please allow me to speak because I'm also
you
part
see,
of
there
the
is
show.
a reason why
what
I
happens
asked.
is, you know, my time gets taken away.
I'll come back to you, तहसीन सरकार नहीं भी बची आपकी, यहाँ टाइम मिल जाएगा, यहाँ मिल जाएगा. वहाँ की सरकार में टाइम नहीं मिल रहा है, ना उद्धव ठाकरे से, ना पवार जी से. यहाँ मिलेगा. धीरज रखिए. Please hold on. You'll get your time here even if you don't get a seat in the government. Yes, Anand Ranganathan.
Yes, you see, this is the reason why I asked this. Everyone is talking about कि ये क्या खेल चल रहा है, ये बीजेपी गड़बड़ कर रही है, हॉर्स ट्रेडिंग चल रही है. किसी ने अभी तक ये नहीं पूछा कि भाई 1.5 साल से स्पीकर ही नहीं है, डिसाइड कौन करेगा. और अभी आई एम एस्टोनिश्ड, माय गुड फ्रेंड तहसीन इज ब्लेमिंग द गवर्नर. I've had it till here. Tehseen, I'm sorry, but today, normally I don't say this, but today you have to apologize. How can you blame the governor? You are running the government. And the two people who are sitting on this panel right now belong to Shiv Sena and to NCP, your coalition partners. How can you say for 1.5 years the governor is to blame when the all-important man right now is missing, the speaker? Come on, Tehseen.
Respond, Tehseen, to that charge.
Yeah, so the governor's role has been dubious. There's no doubt about it. It's not what I wanted to speak about, but it's something I've tweeted about a lot, including the speaker issue. And while Mr. Zirwal continues to be the deputy speaker who will conduct the floor test, the fact of the matter is the governor has not even appointed the 12 MLCs, which the cabinet has sent twice the recommendation to him, and the Congress has had to move Supreme Court on that. So the governor's played a dubious role. But there's something very important that I want to put in front of your viewers, and there are two things. Number one, I don't believe these rebels in the Shiv Sena have the numbers. Had they had the numbers, they would have called for a no confidence motion, but that is not being called for because they don't have the numbers. Number one. Number two, the BJP is behind it because this is Gujarat and Assam where the BJP is funding it through chartered planes, through security, to the convoys, through everything. But there is another question that needs to be answered, which is a very important and a fundamental question out here. How were so many MLAs, whatever the numbers were, allowed to be escorted with a police van up to the Gujarat border? Who's responsible for that? The fact of the matter is today, at the end of the day, we have to look at the responsibility within and say that, look, something was not right in this alliance. Red flags should have gone up when the Rajya Sabha election there was cross-voting. That's when red flags should have gone up. And the fact of the matter is that so many MLAs have been escorted with Maharashtra police to the Gujarat border speaks a lot. So, in short, yes, BJP is behind this. Yes, the governors played a dubious role. But ultimately, questions also need to be asked here of the alliance. What were they doing? And therefore, I support
so would you want to respond to that? Would you want to respond to that, Mr. Brijmohan Shrivastava and Mr. Gade? To you, Mr. Brijmohan Shrivastava, how was the Maharashtra police escorting MLAs to the Gujarat border, and the government and the Shiv Sena had no clue about it?
Navika ji, Mr. Eknath Shinde is a known leader of Shiv Sena. We know it. And he's in since last 25, 26 years. He is having his supporter in police also. If they escorted him, so it's very difficult to check them immediately. This happens also.
Well, Sujata Pandey,
in various
I cannot wrap around the fact
they are getting the support
how
of
he
the local
said
police.
first police is found to be indulged in an extortion racket. Now police is supposed to be escorting the MLAs who are rebelling against the government. Is this government or some kind of banana republic happening in Maharashtra. Now this, Navika, the entire fact is, you know, I remember a
It is not
on this situation.
I totally disagree with you. It is not a banana state, madam.
और आईना साफ करता रहा.
How police can judge whether the MLA if some MLA want to go to the Gujarat, how they can come to know that
so the police is doing what it is doing? Is there a home minister? Is there a home minister? From which party is the home minister, Mr. Brijmohan Shrivastava?
Yeah, NCP, no doubt.
Okay.
He is our home minister.
So why should I not? So why should I not put up? Why should I not put up a conspiracy theory right here on the Newshour and ask you that the NCP knew the police was escorting and yet the NCP allowed this to happen? Were you sabotaging Mr. Uddhav Thackeray sitting in Mumbai as part of the Maha Vikas Aghadi? Conspiracy theory number one. Mr. Brijmohan Shrivastava.
Navika ji, you can create any theory, but my answer is very straightway. The MLAs are provided the PSOs with them. If some MLA is saying that I want to go to the Gujarat, please drop me at the border state. So how the PSO can say? How PSO can understand that this gentleman is going to escape?
Okay, let me. Everybody's hands are going up on the panel. Sujata Pandey to you first. Sujata Pandey to you first. Natural है, PSO है, ले गया गुजरात के border पे छोड़ने के लिए. How can you blame the NCP?
Navika. So, you know, one theory is this, that Sharad, you know, there's a saying in English that I will give you a long rope to hang yourself. I think Sharad Pawar jo kar rahe hain, it is very, very clear from it. You know, who could have denied that Sharad Pawar did not even bother to make one call to all the MLAs sitting in Guwahati? Not even one call. He said, "Ye aapka internal matter hai. Look, I mean, you have to resolve it yourself." Because, you know, the fact of the matter is that the game is done. Khela yahan ho chuka hai. That's because Congress is finished. Shiv Sena is finished. Now it is between NCP and BJP in Maharashtra. You know, Uddhav Thackeray thought, you know, that his father ideals are no longer relevant today. Probably forgot what he said about Sharad Pawar. He said that I would believe in anyone but Sharad Pawar. I would never have an ally with Sharad Pawar. But Uddhav Thackeray did that. And today, here we are sitting here where NCP person is saying that police may be escorting some of the people to border state. They are the person who's Home Minister
Ratan Sharda and Anand Ramanathan also raising their hand. Ratan Sharda, do you think ये conspiracy theory में दम नहीं है? There is another conspiracy theory कि सब कुछ पता था, and Sharad Pawar actually, and this is the conspiracy theory that is doing the rounds, which thought that Sharad Pawar created this Maha Vikas Aghadi because सेना भी खत्म हो जाएगी, कांग्रेस भी खत्म हो जाएगी, then the entire Maharashtra, there are two players, which is the BJP and the NCP. This is a conspiracy theory number 2. Respond.
First of all, when there was cross-voting not once but twice, and nobody cared where the MLA is going, that means they are either knave or they are too clever by half. Secondly, Mr. Sharad Pawar's history of manipulating people, manipulating parties, he has never ruled Congress, Maharashtra on his own, you know that. He has never got more than 1/3 of the seats ever. He is just a king of a small area of Western Maharashtra, and his life has been all manipulation. So when you say there is a conspiracy, I would not have agreed if it was coming for a Sharad Pawar. There are people who tell us that actually Ajit Pawar episode with Mr. Fadnavis was also a manipulation created by Sharad Pawar to show BJP its place, because he had said yes to Ajit Pawar. That is also theory. So Mr. Sharad Pawar has lost his credibility. His way of manipulating people leaves nobody in doubt that you can't believe Sharad Pawar if nobody else. And thirdly, when people keep on saying BJP kahan jati, bhaiya Rajasthan jati BJP, kahan jati BJP? क्या BJP जाती केरला में? जो भी कांग्रेस के शिवसेना के जो MLA निकले हैं, शिवसेना MLAs, where should they go? Should they go to Congress constituency? Where did Sachin Pilot go when he ran away from Rajasthan? Tell me. He went to Haryana, of all the places. And so you cannot go to enemy territory whom you are fighting. Naturally, they went there. And lastly, when you talk about the efficiency of the government, you know, Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, as per alleged state information, has signed 106 GRs in last 2 days. That is the reason sitting in the chief minister post. He has left Varsha, but is not the government. So all this game saying measures सत्ता का प्यार नहीं है, भैया सत्ता का प्यार नहीं था तो आपने अलायंस तोड़ के एनसीपी और कांग्रेस गवर्नमेंट बनाई क्यों? आज अब एनसीपी कांग्रेस not paying any attention to what you do, or rather encouraging the changes. Many people have doubt.
I'm coming to you, Anand Ranganathan, but let me ask Mr. Gade, was the Maharashtra police actually accompanying these MLAs, taking them with Home Minister from NCP and Shiv Sena not having a clue about this?
When the Home Minister
Yes, Navika, first my name is Yogi Gade. It is not Gade, it is Gade. I would just like to correct on that.
Sorry,
and,
Mr.
yes,
Gade, sorry.
Yes, yes, I agree to whatever I have got through media and whatever I have seen. Even Mr. Sharad Pawar ji, who is like actually heading the Maha Vikas Aghadi, even they discussed in the meeting how was it an intelligence failure. So the Maha Vikas Aghadi also is, that's what I have seen in media, they are agreeing it was an intelligence failure.
So it's an intelligence failure, Anand Ranganathan. Anand Ranganathan, it is an intelligence failure, or was Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, as Eknath Shinde says, never in touch with his people? He was never available. मातोश्री के दरवाजे MLAs के लिए, मिनिस्टर्स के लिए बंद थे, कभी बात ही नहीं हुई. 1.5 साल से कह रहे थे कि भाई छोड़ दो, ये नहीं चलेगा, but he was not available. And has that been the undoing of Mr. Uddhav Thackeray and his government today?
Navika, 2 issues. Number one, you know, as I keep saying, a theorist has to be right every time. A conspiracy theorist has to be right only once. So who knows? Maybe you, who has donned this mantle of conspiracy theorist, is possibly going to be right. But let me add my own conspiracy theory to this. You know, you very well know that there is a very strong possibility that Shiv Sena, as we know it, will no longer exist, because if Mr. Shinde is right, he has more than 37 MLAs support, so it will break up and the dynasty, Shiv Sena dynasty, ends. That begs the question. There was one appointed heir of Bala Saheb Thackeray, who nobody has been talking for the last week. Where is he? Where is Raj Thackeray? Will he now come back? Will he shake hands with Mr. Shinde and say, look, I am the rightful heir of this Shiv Sena, Hindutva Shiv Sena. मैं वापस आना चाहता हूं.
Well, the last I heard, Anand Ranganathan, you know, he is not too well and he's undergoing some operation and recovering from an operation. So, you know, he's very much around in Mumbai, but recovering from an operation. So, yes, unknown entity, and we don't know what's going to happen there and who the real Shiv Sena is going to be. But in Guwahati, the news that we are getting is some more MLAs expected to arrive. 3 of them expected to arrive, and I like the way we break news these days. A new batch of MLAs reaching Guwahati in about 15 minutes from now. They're coming in batches. Tehseen Poonawalla, if you want to talk to them, maybe you can sit in one of those chartered flights and go to Guwahati, because there aren't any left in Mumbai now, you know, for you to resolve your differences with. But another batch headed there, and this is the batch that's come in. That's the police on duty and cars going into the Radisson Hotel in Guwahati. That's the latest we are getting. Nibir Deka, my colleague, joins me live from Guwahati. Nibir, how many MLAs? What's this batch like? There seem to be 3-4 cars and lots of people sitting in it. Nibir, what's the update?
This is another 5 more MLAs have joined the Eknath Shinde camp in Guwahati. First, we saw yesterday, after the descending MLAs came, we saw 3 MLAs joining at night, and today morning we saw another 4 MLAs, and now a new batch of MLAs have entered the Radisson Blu Hotel. Their numbers are already 46, and we are getting to know that 5 more MLAs have joined the Radisson Blue Hotel, where the Shinde camp, where the Shinde camp is currently lodging. So more MLAs, the strength of Shinde rises further as more MLAs join them inside Radisson Blue Hotel in Guwahati. This is a big development coming from Guwahati, where more MLAs have joined the Shinde camp at the Radisson Blue Hotel.
Well, those are the latest visuals. गाडे साहब, थोड़ी सांस ठीक आ रही है कि तेज हो गई है? एक और बैच आ गया, 5 of them. Till we get to know MLAs are from Shiv Sena or independents or MLCs. Is pulse rate higher now?
No, it is not. If you go to see, ma'am, the floor test will tell all the answers. Once all the MLAs are in Mumbai, I'm telling you, the scenario is going to change, what it looks like. The same thing happened in 2019. Everybody, like for 2 days, was celebrating that BJP and NCP came to power, and they were justifying going with NCP just how they justified going with PDP. So I'm saying you, it's going to be a very different situation. You don't know who's sending this MLAs there, who is not sending them, how easily these MLAs are with Shiv Sena in Mumbai.
Well,
and
I'm sure Eknath Shinde, who's been giving out pictures at regular intervals, as regular as the batches of MLAs who keep arriving in Guwahati, will send out a new picture with the identifiable MLAs. And we here in our studios and in our newsrooms will continue to count those MLAs and keep bringing you the latest information. Nobody is throwing in the towel in Mumbai, daring the other camp to make a claim for a no confidence motion or a floor test. It's all happening between Mumbai and Guwahati. Chartered planes doing great business for now. We'll keep you abreast with the latest information that keeps coming from both ends. But as of now, end game Uddhav Thackeray, that's the way it looks. But in politics, you can never say never till the floor test and the last numbers are on the board. Thank you very much to all my panelists for joining me on the Newshour tonight.